morning, hi, I'm Kestrel, and welcome to your third Talk for Writing session of the week. So at the moment, we are focusing on A Dream of Elephants by Tony Mitton. So I'm going to refresh your memory by reading you the poem. Maybe afterwards you could have a go at reciting it. I know some of you have learned it really well so far. So, A Dream of Elephants by Tony Mitton. I dreamed a dream of elephants. I cannot tell you why. But in my dream, I saw the herd go slowly walking by. They moved beneath the blazing sun, through rising dust and heat. They made their solemn journey on strong and silent feet. And as I watched the steady herd walk slowly, sadly by, until I stood amazed alone beneath a silent sky. I watched them as they moved away. I watched as they walked on. They merged into the heat and dust, but all of them were gone. I dreamed a dream of elephants. I cannot tell you why, but in my dream I saw the herd go slowly walking by. So I do hope that if you found any words that you've never heard before or are unsure of, that you've got a dictionary or looked it up on a computer so that you knew what these new words meant. A particular one we mentioned in class was solemn, what that meant. Why were they sad? And we thought about why it was dusty. So really building that picture in the reader's head, in the listener's head, because you were reciting it. So, in today's lesson, we're going to warm our brains up by matching some of these words to their word classes. So we've got football, outside, we, and play. So I want you to think now what word classes they match up to. So football, ball, okay. Outside, we play. Now, you've all been doing a great job with your facts, so have a go now. So, we know that football is a noun. Outside is our preposition. We, our pronoun, it replaces the proper nouns, okay, and play is the verb. Now, today we're going to think about what word class is should. We've looked at it a bit before, especially those of you in kites. Okay, what word class is it? A noun? No, it is not a name, place, or thing. It's the preposition. Well, it doesn't tell us what anything is. So, it is a modal verb. So this word may seem familiar to you, modal verbs. So today we are going to be looking at modal verbs and the amount of possibility they have on a verb. So here we have got two sentences, sentence A and sentence B. Sentence A, you ought to watch the nature documentary. It was amazing. And B, what colour shall we paint the living room? I want you to stop and think, what two words are our modal verb? What changes our verb? Okay, so in sentence A, ought. Ought is our modal verb. Because it says you should watch the next documentary, which is amazing. What colour shall we paint the living room? Well, there's options. It's showing us that there might be a possibility of different colours. Shall is your modal verb. So, today our learning objective is to use modal verbs to show possibility. I want you to list down these modal verbs because you might use them in a minute. So we have got might, could, should, would, must, if, perhaps, ought, surely, and maybe. Now we know that modal verbs it shows us the possibility, and there's different possibilities of things happening. So think about you wanting to do something and your parents going, oh, maybe we'll do that. But if they said to you, oh, we must do that, you know that actually it's going to happen if we must do it. But maybe it might be a slight chance of the word no coming your way. So you need to think about the levels of possibility you want to show. So today in our writing, we are going to be writing about elephants. Yesterday, you did research into your elephant using the two websites that we gave you. So, using the notes, we are going to write a paragraph, a bit like a persuasive text, okay? So you are going to use your modal verbs, and we're going to write a paragraph about how elephants could be safe, and just use a modal verb there. So I had a go at writing a paragraph. And I've started with my modal verb surely. Surely it isn't too late to save the elephant. If we act now, we might be able to save more of these precious creatures. Elephants must be saved as they help to conserve forest and savanna ecosystems. Did you know that an elephant's footprint filled with water could create its own ecosystem for tadpoles? It is undoubtedly our moral duty to protect life and educate the next generation so that these animals do not become extinct. So throughout my paragraph, not very many sentences, but I've selected a range of different modal verbs to put together all about elephants. Now I haven't gone into much detail about the ivory, and I haven't gone about their habitat. So there's lots of things that you can go off with. I know there'll be lots of different paragraphs. Yours doesn't need to be anything like mine, but the real success criteria today to know how well you've done in today's lesson is to use your modal verbs. How many different modal verbs can you include in your paragraph? It's really important that you check it makes sense and it flows really nicely together. Reread it again, and reread it again. Next time you reread it, make sure it makes sense. Second time, look for spellings, okay? Check if there are any words that look, that I wouldn't read it that way in a reading book, so it doesn't look quite right. Underline them, then get your dictionary and check them. And then when I was writing mine, I put, instead of creatures, I put elephants. Now, if I put elephants there, surely it isn't too late to save the elephant. If we act now, we might be able to save more of these precious elephants. Elephants is too much repetition, okay? So think about your pronouns to replace the word. Think about different words you can use so we've got the same meaning. Maybe you want to add in a rhetorical question, okay? So think about the different techniques that you have used. I look forward to reading your